welcome back to our channel, Professor Tiwari. My name is Amrita, and today we are going to discuss the next topic in our chapter, that is a life process, that is the transportation. Thus, we have discussed the transportation in humans in the last chapter, in the last class. Now we'll discuss the transportation in plants. Okay, so let's begin with the topic. Transportation in plants. Okay, now how transportation in plants is different from the human beings. See, because human beings have, as we discussed, that they have the transporter, which is the blood, they have the pumping organ, but plants don't have such pumping organ, or they don't have the blood to transport the things from one place to another place. Okay. On the other hand, diffusion can't be worked, because in, like, if you just talk about the grasses or even the small plants, the diffusion might work over there. But what about the plants, those who have a height of 100 feet? The diffusion process won't work. Okay. So for the whole system, for the transportation of materials that is being absorbed, like the raw materials that we discussed in the respiration process, in the photosynthesis process, that is you need minerals, you need water, you need carbon dioxide. Okay, you need all these things. Okay. And what about the product that is being made, the glucose or the sucrose which is being made? That has to be transported, okay, to different part of the plant according to the need, okay, even for the storage purpose. So for all these things, there are the two separate systems that works in the plant, okay. That is, the two separate system that works in the plant is actually a xylem and a phloem. Okay, so these are the two separate systems which work in the plants for transportation purpose. Okay, so we'll first discuss about the xylem. Now, what is a xylem? Xylem is actually it is a network of trachees. It is a network of the roots, and it is also contains the tubes. Okay, so if you just talk about the xylem, so what is xylem? Network of trachees, roots and tubes. Okay, so that's what xylem is. Fine. Now, what happens? That is the root cells that we were talking about. Now, what the xylem does is that xylem actually transports the water. Okay, it actually transports the water and the dissolved minerals present in the soil. Okay, so dissolved minerals, all the minerals present in the soil and the water from the roots, okay, to the whole part of the plant. Okay, but always remember, xylem is actually a one-way system. Okay, which means the water will travel from root to the tip. It won't go back. It is a one-way system. On the other hand, phloem is a two-way system, which means it can move up and down. Okay, it's a two-way system. It's like a one-way, it's like a two-way. Okay, you can understand this process. Now, what does the xylem do? Xylem actually transports what? Water and minerals. Okay, so it transports two things, the water and the minerals. Now, other than that, how does it transport? Like, because there's a gravitation force that works. Okay, so definitely, it is not easy to pull the water against the gravitational force up to the height of 100 feet. If a plant is height of 100 feet, definitely the water can't move that much high. So there has to be a certain system that can pull the water from there. Okay, so we'll discuss those systems over here. First thing is that what happens, because when there is a scarcity of water in the root, which means a concentration gradient. Okay, when there is a difference between the concentration, that if you remember, we discussed about the diffusion process. Okay, or we discussed about the osmosis process. What happens? There is always a movement from higher concentration to lower concentration. So the roots have lower concentration of the water, or you can say the xylem have lower concentration of water. Because of that, because of lower concentrations, how does the water move? From higher to lower concentration. From higher to lower concentration. Okay, so how does it work? When the xylem lacks the water, or the roots lack the water, because there is a more concentration of water, more amount of water present in the soil in comparison to the roots or into the xylem, the water will automatically move towards the xylem. Okay, so that is being done. That is the one process. Okay, what is the second one? So that was the one thing. What was the second thing that we need to discuss? Okay, transpiration. Another word comes up, that is a transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration is a process. See, you have heard about dehydration process that we have when, like, it's the summers, when we go out and we feel thirsty. So what we do, we drink water. Okay, to fill up that quantity or fill up that space. So in the same way, during the daytime, especially in summer seasons, because the stomata has to open for the intake of the CO2 and for the release of the oxygen, as we discussed in the last class, there is also loss of water that takes place. Okay, so because the loss of water takes place because of the transpiration process, so transpiration is what? Loss of water. So it is loss of water. Okay, so because loss of water takes place through the transpiration process, so there is a suction that is being developed. Okay, and because of that suction, the water gets pulled up against the gravity into the xylem. Okay, and it travels to the xylem up above till the height of 100 feet and to the each and every tip of the plant. Okay, so that is how the xylem transports the water and the minerals along with the water to the whole part of the plant. Okay, so that is talking about the xylem. What about the phloem? How does the phloem? These are the two ways through which the water is being transported. But what about the phloem? What happens with the phloem? As I told you, that phloem is actually a two-way process. Okay, it is also a transportation process, but it is a bit different from what we studied about the xylem. Phloem does not only moves water. It is also a transportation thing, but it not only moves water, but it also transports the materials which are being made after the photosynthesis, like the glucose is being made or sucrose is being made, and they have to be transported from one place to another. So phloem, what it transports? Definitely transports water, because water actually works as a transporter over here. You can see that. Definitely transports water. It transports the food, or you can say carbohydrates, carbs, amino acids. Okay, fine. So these are the things that is being transported by the phloem. Carbs, that is the glucose which is being made during the photosynthesis process. Water definitely works as a transportation will be involved in the transportation, and amino acids which are being made by the plant. Okay, so phloem transport all these things. Now, what is a phloem? When we talk about phloem, it is a vascular tissue. Okay, and so it's a vascular tissue, and what it is vascular tissue contain? It is actually contains sieve tubes. You might have learned in the 9th class. Okay, sieve tubes and companion cells. It contains these two things. Okay, so it's a vascular tissue made up of and it's a vascular tissue which has sieve tubes and companion cells. Okay, so they have sieve tubes and then they have the companion cells, into which the carbs and the carbohydrates and amino acids travel. Now, how does this process work? Like for the xylem, we have understood that there is a scarcity, the concentration gradient becomes different, or because of the loss of the water, there is a suction that is being developed, so the water gets pulled up. But what about the case of the phloem? Phloem does not work in that process. Phloem works in some other way. How does it work? It actually works. It requires energy for transportation. What it requires? It requires energy for transportation. From where does it get its energy? From ATP. Oh, I hope you all remember the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which was being made. So it derives its energy from the ATP. Okay, and what it does, it takes the water, because water is being required. See, it has a carbon dioxide present in the phloem. You have the amino acids which are being present in the phloem, but they can't travel by their own. So what they require water for that purpose. Okay, so water is pulled away, okay, from the xylem, from there, and it is taken in the phloem, and from there the carbohydrates and the amino acids, they get mixed with the water. ATP has to work in this process because they have to move to different part of the body, to different part of the plant body, and the things travel, and all these things travel according to the plant need. Okay, how they will going to travel according to the need, like for the growing organs, especially in the summer seasons. Okay, when the new buds come up in the fruits, seeds, and roots. So these are the places where the water, the carbohydrates and the amino acids go and they get deposited, okay, or they are being required. Like in the summer, in the spring season, when the new buds will come up, new flowers will grow, okay, they will bloom. So in that case, the new organs are coming out, okay, new branches are being there, new leaves are being coming, okay. So they require some food for that, okay. They require carbohydrates, they require water, they require amino acids. So they're being transported over there. When the fruit season is being there, so they will transport it towards the fruit, okay, the sucrose especially. Okay, seeds, it will go and get deposited into the seeds for in case if you just write the seed again, so it will be required in the roots, because roots also require some amount of food, okay. So this is how the phloem works. As we have discussed, so phloem always require the amount of energy to do the whole process, because as I told you, it's a two-way process, so it has to go down and it has to go up, and also depends, and it also goes always against the concentration gradient also, okay. So it depends on that, okay. So like this topic will be bit short because there is not much which is being there, transportation in plants in the class 10, because we have it more in the class 9 to understand more structure of phloem and xylem. Like when we go back to class 9 chapter, when we continue the class 9th again, we'll discuss the whole phloem and xylem structures and everything, how the things are being worked, okay. So this is all about the xylem and the phloem and the transportation in plants which takes place. Okay, one more thing that I forgot, that this whole thing of phloem, okay, the transportation of water, carbohydrates and amino acids is being called as translocation, okay. So this is called as translocation. This is a translocation of these things takes place in growing organs, fruit, seeds and roots, okay. So that's all for today, and the topic transportation in plants ends over here, or transportation ends over here. We are just being left with one more topic, that is excretion. We'll do it in the next class, okay. And if you have, in case you have any questions, comments and suggestions, please drop them in the comment box below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share our channel, and also hit the bell icon for the more such updates. Thank you. Bye.